Lawyers for Donald Trump's one-time personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, have been informed that Giuliani is now a target of the criminal investigation into election interference playing out in Georgia.
Giuliani's lawyers were informed today that their client is a target of the special grand jury's criminal investigation. The former New York City mayor is one of the biggest proponents, has been, is, of Donald Trump's false claims of voter fraud in the 2020 election.
Rudy Giuliani, Donald Trump's former attorney who has been credited with helping to mastermind what came to be known as the Big Lie, is the target of an investigation into election interference in Georgia. I'm Yasmin Khan with Rebel HQ, and the plot is thick, and it goes beyond Georgia. The Big Lie, which claims with no supporting evidence that Donald Trump won the 2020 presidential election over Joe Biden, has proliferated for the last 2.5 years to the point that we're now seeing GOP primary candidates across the country claiming that the 2020 election was rigged. But the big lie isn't that the election was rigged when it wasn't. The lie is that the Democrats rigged it when we actually do have evidence to the contrary, evidence that keeps piling up. For instance, it came out during the January 6th committee hearings that Giuliani was the one who told Trump to just say we won. This, of course, came after Trump had spent months priming his base to expect election tampering from the Democrats, so that if and when Trump lost his election, his most ardent supporters wouldn't accept the results.
To the best of my memory, I was saying that we should not go and declare victory until we had a better sense of the numbers. I think effectively, Mayor Giuliani was saying, we won it, they're stealing it from us, where'd all the votes come from, we need to go say that we won, and essentially that anyone who didn't agree with that position was being weak.
Additionally, Trump and his team had demonized the mail-in voting system, encouraging his supporters to vote in person in the midst of a pandemic. Meanwhile, many Democrats were encouraged to vote by mail as a matter of public safety, naturally resulting in more mail-in votes for Biden than for Trump. It was the period between the in-person votes being counted and the mail-in votes coming in that Trump claimed to have won the election. He later cited the fact that most of the mail-in votes were for his opponent as evidence of election fraud. His supporters failed to make the very obvious connection between Trump's months-long anti-mail-in voting campaign and Trump's resulting lack of mail-in votes. All of this was premeditated. In Texas, for example, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton intentionally blocked mail-in voting applications, not even ballots, just applications for ballots, from being sent out, specifically targeting my own county, Harris County. Paxton later said on Steve Bannon's podcast that had he not done that, Texas would have flipped for Biden. Georgia was another election hotspot in 2020. As many of you will recall, Trump spent an hour on the phone with the Georgia Secretary of State, imploring him to find 11,780 votes for Trump. Those votes would have swung the state and its 16 electoral votes for Trump rather than for Biden, but thankfully Secretary Raffensperger refused to do so. Because of Giuliani's role in everything, he's scheduled to testify before a special grand jury in Georgia on Wednesday, which as of me recording this is tomorrow. The investigation is being led by Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis, who recently won another federal court case in which the judge ruled that South Carolina Republican Senator Lindsey Graham would also have to testify. Giuliani initially attempted to delay his appearance, citing health concerns. Now he's expected to appear as scheduled, but he'll likely either claim attorney-client privilege in his testimony or plead the fifth to avoid incrimination. Norman Eisen, an attorney and former diplomat who served on the House Judiciary Committee when Trump was being impeached the first time, told the Washington Post that Giuliani and Trump are, quote, too intertwined factually and legally in the attempt to use fake electors and other means to attack the Georgia outcome. Eisen went on to say that Trump is, quote, powerfully implicated by the publicly available facts and the law. In Lindsey Graham's case, he also made several attempts to either get his own subpoena tossed out or to otherwise avoid having to testify. However, a federal judge stated, quote, the court finds that the district attorney has shown extraordinary circumstances and a special need for Senator Graham's testimony on issues relating to alleged attempts to influence or disrupt the lawful administration of Georgia's elections. In addition to all of this, throughout the 2020 election, there were attacks on the Dominion voting systems across the country, with Trump's team and several right-wing news outlets falsely claiming that the voting machines were rigged for Biden. Now, Fox News, One American News Network, and Newsmax are facing lawsuits totaling upward of $1 billion in damage for defamation against Dominion. With text messages between White House officials and anchors at Fox News, notably between Mark Meadows and Sean Hannity, coming out during the January 6 hearings, the links between these outlets and Trump's election tampering efforts are hard to dispute. Word has it that Fox News host Tucker Carlson is also worried that incriminating texts between himself and right-wing host Alex Jones could soon be exposed, though the nature of those texts isn't yet known. Alex Jones is currently dealing with his own bout of defamation-related legal troubles, though his aren't related to the 2020 election. Now, the Washington Post has reported, quote, a team of computer experts directed by lawyers allied with President Donald Trump copied sensitive data from election systems in Georgia as part of a secretive, multi-state effort to access voting equipment that was broader, more organized, and more successful than previously reported. The states that were targeted, Georgia, Michigan, and Nevada, were all states of intense focus and scrutiny by the Trump team during the 2020 election. So this all goes quite deep, even more deeply than we had previously known or even had reason to suspect. With people like Rudy Giuliani and Lindsey Graham being directly targeted by investigative committees and being made to testify under oath about their alleged involvement in criminal activity, many suspect that the walls are closing in on Trump himself. By targeting his inner circle, prosecutors are getting closer and closer to the source, and Donald Trump has reason to be concerned. That's it for me. Please like and subscribe if you got something out of this content, and be sure to follow me over on Instagram and TikTok.